New developments in Winsted tonight, where a man is accused of killing his wife.
Purple lights. That's what you'd see if you drove through Winsted, Connecticut right now. Purple balloons, purple decorations, purple light bulbs in every window. And the hardware store keeps running out of them every single time a new shipment comes in. The whole town lit itself up in purple for one woman, and the reason they had to? Make it make sense. Because Carrie Stetson, the woman who ran the Railway Cafe on Main Street, the woman who knew everybody's name, the woman who baked goods that made you feel like you were home, was found dead in her own bedroom, killed by the man she had already gone to court to get away from, the man who was legally banned from stepping foot in that house. And yet, there he was. Let me tell you something. This story is going to sit with you. Not because it's shocking, but because it's familiar. And that's the part that hurts. In every home, behind every closed door, there's a story waiting to be uncovered. Welcome to Dark Whispers, where we dive deep into the hidden truths of domestic crime and the relationships that turn deadly. If you're drawn to real stories, powerful insights, and the shadows most people avoid, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and step into the whispers they never wanted you to hear. Carrie Stetson was 54 years old, and she was the kind of person that a town builds itself around without even realizing it. She had moved her railway cafe from Canaan all the way to Main Street in Winsted back in 2021, and from the moment she planted herself on that street, she became something bigger than a business owner. She was a mother of 3. She sat on Winsted's Economic Development Commission. She was the shoulder you leaned on, the person who showed up when you needed someone and didn't ask for anything in return. Girl, people were out here paying more than their rent just because she made them feel good about it. Fred Richards, the man who owned the Railway Cafe building and ran the jewelry store next door, said that at one point Carrie was paying him $200 more a month than she owed, just because she felt the price of something was fair. That's the kind of person she was. Her cafe wasn't just a place to eat breakfast. It had a musician in the corner. It had baked goods and ice cream. Her kids worked there. The community gathered there. And Niels Johnson, who runs the Little Red Barn Brewers just up the street, said it plainly. She was a shoulder to cry on in difficult days. Everybody knew Carrie. And Carrie knew everybody. Her husband, Leon Stetson, was 67, and for a while they were married. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Leon had been a long-time crack cocaine user, and according to people close to the situation, his behavior had been growing more and more obsessive in the weeks leading up to what happened. Moving on. We'll get into that. But understand that the woman at the center of this story had already seen the danger coming. She had already tried to protect herself, and the system had already said it would help. It didn't. Back in April 15th to be exact, a full no-contact protective order was put in place against Leon Stetson. This didn't come out of nowhere. It followed an arrest where Leon was charged with disorderly conduct, interfering with a 911 call, and second-degree criminal mischief. But what makes this part of the story land differently is Carrie's own words. In her application for that protective order, she wrote that Leon had become physically abusive and increasingly volatile and dangerous, and that she feared for her safety and the safety of her children. She wrote that. She said it in her own words. She went to the court. She did everything right. That order was valid until July 27th, 2026. It told Leon to stay away from Carrie's home. to stay away from her. Period. Anyways, here's where the warning signs start stacking. In the weeks before June 8th, people around Leon noticed his behavior getting worse, more obsessive, more erratic. And then, the day before Carrie was killed, Leon made a Facebook post, a photo of Carrie. Just posted it. And someone who knew him said the moment they saw it, it was an immediate red flag. Like, something about that post felt off, felt final. Oh, so now we also know this. Surveillance footage captured Leon's Chevrolet Malibu driving slowly past Carrie's street at 1:59 in the afternoon on June 8th. Hours before police would be called to that same address. He was watching. He was circling. And no one could stop what he had already decided to do. That evening, someone came to the house on Oak Street and found blood. Inside the house. They couldn't get anyone to respond. So they called the police. When officers arrived, they found Carrie Stetson in an upstairs bedroom. She was gone, pronounced dead at the scene. Leon was found in the home too, alive, with a neck wound that investigators described as self-inflicted. Officers immediately rendered aid. He was airlifted by Lifestar helicopter to Hartford Hospital, where he arrived in critical condition. There was no forced entry. He didn't break in. He walked into a home he was legally forbidden from entering, and he used a knife. The same knife that investigators later seized from the scene. The autopsy confirmed what the scene already told them. Carrie Stetson's death was a homicide, caused by sharp force injuries. So what? He thought he could do this and just disappear? He tried, and he survived. The next day, June 9th, staff at Hartford Hospital contacted police. Leon Stetson had regained consciousness, and because his neck wound left him unable to speak, he was writing. On paper. Detectives came. They asked questions, and Leon answered them. In writing, he wrote that he had attempted to take his own life after what he did to Carrie. He knew. He wrote it himself. The Connecticut State Police Western District Major Crime Squad took over the investigation. They had a knife. They had surveillance footage of his car. They had no signs of forced entry, which told them everything about how he got in. They had his written confession, and they had a protective order with his name on it, already in place, that he had violated the moment he drove down that street. The case was not complicated. The evidence was stacked. What was complicated was the grief of a community that had lost someone they could not afford to lose.
A lot of tear-filled trips to the Railway Cafe Wednesday here on Main Street. Carrie Stetson was the owner. Virtually everyone knew her. Flowers now line the outside and inside of her restaurant.
I cried for a whole day, to be honest. I haven't cried like that in a long time.
David Castillo was a friend of Carrie Stetson's. He says she was just an incredibly kind soul, a constant volunteer for anything that needed it, or a person to talk to for anyone who needed it. She was found dead Monday evening in her home after a domestic violence incident. Her husband, Leon Stetson, is in critical condition.
She made an impact on a lot of people's lives, and obviously, you know, this happening is the most tragic thing I've seen in Winsted ever.
Her cafe was the spot for breakfast in town. Businesses all over downtown Winsted have been posting pictures online with her while she was visiting or making friends with anyone.
Utter shock. I think this has just shaken up our whole community. She was a beloved member of our community. Her Railway Cafe wasn't just a business to people in this town.
Fred Richards owns the jewelry store next door and owns the Railway Cafe building. He rented it out to Carrie, who at one point paid more than her rent to help him out.
I had to do some work, put an air exchanger in there. She says, "How much is that going to cost you?" I said, "Well, it's about $7,000. She started paying me $200 more a month than what I was asking for because she felt bad that the air exchanger was so expensive.
On June 11th, Leon Stetson was arrested on a warrant, right there in his hospital bed at Hartford Hospital. He was charged with murder, home invasion, and criminal violation of a protective order. His bond was set at $3 million, cash or surety. He was scheduled for a virtual court appearance the following day. 3 charges, $3 million, and none of it brings Carrie back. The railway cafe closed. A sign on the door, closed until further notice. But outside that door, flowers, handwritten notes, people who couldn't stop crying. The community raised nearly $100,000 on GoFundMe for Carrie's 3 children. A spaghetti dinner fundraiser sold out in less than 10 hours. And Georgie Andrews from Winsted said what the whole town was feeling. It takes a village, and now this village has 3 more kids to raise. Niels Johnson said it too, quietly and clearly. The legacy is in her children. And the purple lights? Those are for domestic violence awareness. Because Carrie had a protective order. She had documentation. She had told the court she was afraid. And she still didn't make it to July 27th, the day that order was set to expire. I said what I said. The system that is supposed to protect people cannot always get to the door in time, which means we have to know the signs, take the warning seriously, and if someone tells you they are afraid, believe them. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, CT Safe Connect is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 888-774-2900. And if you're outside Connecticut, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. Carrie Stetson was everyone's mom. She deserved to grow old. She deserved to see her kids build their lives. And the people of Winsted are going to keep her lights on, purple, every night, until the world finally starts listening.